Now on Coast TV News.
Holiday helpers, volunteers roll up their sleeves in Selbyville to make Easter brighter for thousands of people. Stride and Tide runners take over Dewey Beach for the Coastal Delaware Running Festival. And felony gun charges in both Kent and Sussex counties this week. What police are telling us today.
Well, gray, gloomy, and a damp Saturday here on Delmarva. I'm tracking more cloudy and damp conditions through the evening and at least for part of our Sunday before a brief warm-up. We're going to be pushing 70 degrees as we start next week, and we'll also talk when our next chance of rain arrives coming up.
This is Coast TV News at 6.
Good evening. I'm Christina DeRobertis. Welcome to Coast TV News at 6. We begin tonight in Bridgeville. That's where Delaware State Police arrested 3 people on gun charges after police say they were waving firearms at customers outside the Bridgeville McDonald's. And here's a look at what police found in the car during this arrest: 3 handguns, dozens of bullets, a loaded extended magazine, and a digital scale. Troopers arrested 36-year-old Dion Garner of Preston, Maryland, along with 2 17-year-old boys, one from Cambridge, Maryland, and the other from Delmar. Garner, who police say is a convicted felon, is now being held on a more than $50,000 bond. Meanwhile, in Harrington, state police arrested a 54-year-old James Shelton for felony gun and drug charges on Tuesday. This following a search warrant at a Harrington home. Police shared this photo saying they found about 40 grams of cocaine and 20 grams of crack cocaine, also at least 3 guns and about $7,000 in suspected drug dealing proceeds. Shelton was charged with multiple drug and firearm crimes and released after posting bond. We're going to go ahead now and take a live look outside into Milford. And our first alert meteorologist, Chris Mastrobono, is going to join us with a check on the forecast. Chris,
yeah, I know, right? Just when we have one day warm day, we get like 3 cold days in a row. But there is some spring temperatures in that extended forecast. But we saw quite a soaking of rain over the last 24 hours. Dover picking up nearly 2 inches, just shy of 2 inches in Millsboro. We had 1.84 in Lewis. Seaford picking up 1.7 inches, and then Rehoboth picked up over 1.5 inches of rain. Other areas across Sussex County, over 1.5 inches in Laurel. We saw 1.4 in Milton and 1.3 inches of rain in both Long Neck and Georgetown. Well, we've been socked in the cloud cover, all thanks to this area of low pressure just off our coast. This area is spinning off to the northeast, but you can see the moisture spinning counterclockwise. Temperatures are in the mid to upper 40s. We're going to drop a few degrees into the overnight, upper 30s to lower 40s. We're going to keep the clouds in play, at least for tonight and in part of our Sunday. We gradually improve, pushing 60 tomorrow, and there's that spring warmth back early Monday. We'll see temperatures reach the 70s before another cold front pushes through. We'll talk more about that and have an early look at that Easter forecast coming up a little bit later on. Christine.
All right, thank you, Chris. We'll check back in a bit. And even though it was a little cold out there today, it didn't stop people in Selbyville from volunteering for Mountaire Farms Easter for Thousands. Easter for Thousands is an annual event run by Mountaire, where community members and volunteers pack Easter food boxes for families here on Delmarva. Today, members from over 300 community partners worked to assemble 23,000 meals. Mountaire tells us those meals will feed more than 90,000 people. And the Easter event came from the Thanksgiving for Thousands event. Mountaire says they look to help fight food insecurity for those struggling during the holiday season.
Very important for us to invest back into the people and the communities that we serve. If we could help provide a family meal around the holidays for folks throughout our communities, we feel like that's just a great way to show people how much we care and appreciate what they do for us.
And the Easter for Thousands has been going on for over a decade. After those boxes are packed up, 150 community nonprofits from Delmarva come and pick them up and distribute them to families in need across the peninsula. Also, the cold weather was not stopping people from racing around Dewey Beach today. The Coastal Delaware Running Festival brought out hundreds of people for a 5K bright and early this morning. Organizers say there were 931 5K finishers today. Way to go, finishers. Well, for the average consumer just trying to plan a budget, This week has been a lot to sort through, from dramatic market ups and downs to tariff confusion. A survey released Friday shows the economic chaos is stoking consumer pessimism. Karen Kafa is in Washington with a look at why that matters.
The University of Michigan said on Friday that its monthly consumer sentiment reading, its look at how consumers feel about the economy, plunged for the month, with Americans not only feeling uneasy about where the economy is right now, but also where it's headed. Americans feel uneasy about the economy, according to a closely watched monthly survey from the University of Michigan. The pessimism, driven in part by consumer expectations that inflation will push higher by the end of the year.
When prices go up, sort of by definition, people buy less. And when they buy less and there's less demand, and you see this decline in consumer and investor sentiment.
The University of Michigan, which conducted its consumer sentiment interviews prior to President Trump's announcement of a 90-day pause on some tariffs, says trade war developments have turned consumers more sour on the economy, with the expectation that unemployment will rise as well. Wild swings in the stock market will likely persist too, strategists say, unless there's more certainty around the tariffs.
It's going to be very difficult for the markets to find any stability unless and until we get to a place where some of the negotiations turn into some trade deals.
Both Wall Street and the Federal Reserve will be watching to see how consumer pessimism and market anxiety impact consumer spending, which drives about 70% of the U.S. economic engine.
Volatility is here to stay. The market isn't going directly down, doesn't seem to be going directly up. A lot of ups and downs each day, and that means diversification in your portfolio is more important than ever.
And looking at the impact of this on consumer households, now that President Trump has hiked the tariff on goods imported from China to at least 145%, updated research by the Budget Lab at Yale estimates President Trump's tariffs will cost the typical middle-class household an extra $3,700 a year. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
And we are just getting started this evening. Still to come on Coast TV News at 6, local tariff impacts, how businesses here on the coast say they are preparing.
Can't completely rule out a spotty shower this evening and some drizzle, but just a cold, raw night. If you're going out, dress warm. Temperatures falling into the lower 40s. We do talk warmer times, brighter times ahead. My full forecast is coming up in minutes.
But first, a new tariff exemption on certain electronics. We'll have that story and more after this. Well, it looks like electronics, including smartphones and computer monitors, will be exempt from President Trump's reciprocal tariffs. That's according to a notice from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection that was posted late Friday. The exemption applies to products entering the U.S. or any that were removed from warehouses by April 5th. The move comes as the Trump administration imposed a tariff rate of 145% on Chinese goods imported to the U.S. And since they were enacted, we have been covering tariffs in the U.S. and here on Delmarva. Game On video games and more in Rehoboth Beach. They say nearly their entire store of electronics is filled with products from overseas, specifically China, Mexico, and Japan. They say since the tariffs started, it hasn't been good news from those distributors.
They just announced to us yesterday that they're going to be raising their prices, so we're trying to hold out to see if we can ride it out so that we don't have to raise prices is honestly what we're trying to do.
Now, businesses we have spoken to over the past week say the current tariff situation is full of unknowns, and while it is too early to tell what will happen, they say it's having an impact right now. Coming up next, a warning about measles as the travel season ramps up.
And we're going to try to salvage the second half of the weekend in Cambridge and Crisfield, making a push at 60 degrees. I do think we'll see more in the way of sun later on in the day through the early part of the evening. We'll talk, though, about making a run at 70 degrees by Monday. My full 70 forecast is coming up next. Well, highs today, boy, didn't get out of the 40s. We saw a high of 46 in Georgetown, 47 Salisbury, 46 in Cambridge. Average high for this time of year is 65 degrees, so we were well shy of that. As we take a live look into Cambridge here, those cloudy skies, we're at 46 degrees, winds out of the north at about 10 miles an hour. We're holding at 48 in Seaford, 46 Del Mar, 44 in Rehoboth, and 45 in Bethany Beach. You can see the wind flow out of the north. Still seeing some gusts along the coast, 21 mile an hour Indian River Inlet, and we're at 22 miles an hour in Ocean City. Small craft advisories are up through 6 Sunday for the Delaware coastline, and then from Ocean City southward into Chickateague, those run through 4 on Sunday, and then the Bayside, those are up through 4 as well. And it's all thanks to this big broad area of low pressure. You can see some spotty showers across South Jersey, southeastern Pennsylvania, as this area of low pressure kicks off to the northeast. So we're going to be socked in the clouds, a few stray showers into the evening, but we see drier air. High pressure will be building in as we go into the day on Monday. Now, it's unfortunate because we have a pink full moon tonight. This is the name given to the from the pink wildflowers that bloom in the early spring. Now, the moon won't actually be pink, but unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see it much across Delmarva, due in part to the mostly cloudy conditions as we dip upper 30s, I think, away from the coast to lower 40s. Now, if you're heading out to brunch tomorrow morning, it is going to be a cloudy start, but I do think we'll see sunshine late, with temperatures starting in the 40s and gradually rising into the 50s. I think some of us do top around into the lower 60s, 60 Georgetown for tomorrow, 59 in Dover. We'll see 60 in Cambridge, 60 in Salisbury, and we'll see 60 in Ocean City. So Futurecast shows the cloudy skies through, at least for the start of the day. I think we'll see gradual clearing as we go into the afternoon. Warm front lifts through the north Sunday night into Monday. Could see a brief shower, but I think most of us stay dry. But by Monday afternoon, we're in the upper 60s to lower 70s throughout much of Delmarva ahead of a cold front. So there's the setup. Early week, unfortunately, it's not an extended streak of warmth because we have that cold front, and that's going to be sliding through Tuesday into Wednesday. So we're going to have 2 cold fronts, Monday to Tuesday, and then another one Tuesday into Wednesday, which could potentially bring even, believe it or not, another frost as we go into Wednesday into Thursday. So there's the front. Looks like late Monday into Tuesday, not looking at anything severe at this point. I think instability is going to be pretty low, and then we dry things out and stay rather cool Wednesday through Thursday, and then we gradually turn milder as we go into your Holy Weekend. You're looking at 57 morning low Thursday, I think mid to upper 30s. We're up to 61 on Thursday. Good Friday looking at 68. Watching the system late Friday into Saturday. Right now we're going with drier and milder, and there's a nice 77 degrees next Saturday.
Love to see it. Okay, thank you, Chris. Well, with many families traveling for spring break ahead of the Easter holiday, health officials are worried about measles cases spreading. So far, more than 700 cases have been reported in the U.S., and that's the highest number since 2019, according to the CDC. Jen Sullivan looks at the growing numbers and the warning to people traveling.
With people traveling for spring break, many officials are concerned the number of measles cases could spike.
This is a very, very infectious disease.
Hawaii Governor Josh Green is also a physician and is worried about the growing cases of measles across the country. This week, the Aloha State confirming its first reported case of measles in years, an unvaccinated child under 5 who recently returned to Oahu after traveling internationally.
If people went through the airport at the same time as the child, there could be infection.
As of Thursday, 712 measles cases have been confirmed in 24 states, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. That's more than double the total amount of measles cases reported last year. Multiple cases have been reported in Oklahoma, Kansas, and New Mexico, but the majority are in West Texas, where the number has surpassed 500 in the state, and there have been at least 2 deaths.
We definitely have a significant number of cases of measles out here in West Texas.
Measles is a highly contagious respiratory disease. If one person has it, up to 9 out of 10 people nearby will become infected if they are not protected, according to the CDC. That's why health officials are urging people to get the MMR vaccine.
The MMR vaccine that protects us against measles is the way to stop from getting measles.
Health officials say 1 dose is 93% effective, and the second dose is 97% effective at preventing measles. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
This is Coast TV News at 6.
President Trump has authorized the military to take control of federal lands along the southern border. Friday, Trump sent a memorandum to 4 federal agency heads instructing them to allow the military to use and take jurisdiction of federal land and public lands across the Mexico border. The memo was sent to the heads of Homeland Security, Defense Department, and the Departments of Interior and Agriculture. Coming up, a sneak peek at Prime Hook's new visitor center in Milton. Stay with us. You're taking a live look now at the new visitor center at the Friends of Prime Hook National Wildlife Refuge in Milton. People were allowed inside the building for the first time this week. However, there is still work to be done, and board president Bill Pritchett says the building should be complete in a few months.
We have a wonderful new store inside called Hooked on Nature, so I think that our visitors are going to enjoy going visiting the store. We'll have more displays inside the lobby here.
And Pritchett says their grand opening will likely take place sometime in the fall. Here's a live look outside now into Salisbury. After the break here on Coast TV News at 6, we will have one more check on the forecast.
Well, looking at those cloudy skies in Salisbury, 46 degrees, a chilly night as temperatures fall to around 42 at around 10. And you get your latest forecast by dialing the First Alert Weather phone. Now, your 10-day forecast shows 61 for our Palm Sunday, 70 by Monday. Now, our cold front could bring a round of showers and storms late Monday into Tuesday. We do cool things down, looking pretty cold into Thursday morning, Wednesday morning time frame, and then we warm things up nicely into our Easter weekend. Watching a system late Friday into Saturday, but we are keeping it dry into Easter Sunday with a high of 68.
Looks good. Thank you, Chris, and thanks for joining us for Coast TV News at 6 tonight. For some more local news and local weather, you can always download our Coast TV News app. Be sure to join us again tonight at 11 p.m. Until then, have a great night.